correct? Right? Baker? Test, test, 1, 2, 1, 2. Test, 1, 2, 1, 2. Folks, the night has been very hot and sticky. About to bring you live from On Track Karting. A much smaller crowd than in weeks past. Who's gonna get the job done here tonight? On a very hot and summer night. We'll be here tonight for a league night at On Track Karting. Folks, again to On Track Karting here in Wallingford, Connecticut. We're set to bring you a very fantastic night. Unlike any night we've seen this week, we've seen a few nights here get filled with a lot of rain. Some other nights get rather chilly. Tonight, it's going to be a great night. Weeks past we've had over the appears to be a little bit of a special night. We'll have to see just why so look at set up a trophy for tonight's game main winner. For tonight's big summer classic. We have some of the best OTK has to offer out there tonight. So, who can get the hardware and what will be essentially in front all-star race? We get set to go here. First qualifier of the night. Top five from each. So the second behind Gone Racing, Escal Force, 7. 8. Steve-O is down 9. Last, next. You get that cart fired back. Gonna hop in his beloved 7 car. Driver of the 7SK once again driving a 7 here at That's kind of what I want to do. I want to start back and stuff. Yes, I was able to run away with that first ball. So incredible fight, as I alluded to earlier. The ability to be able to do the same thing in this one. You have the same chart. We'll have to see if he is able to pull out to a major gas. He's pulled in 37, 75, 6 on 3 laps. JP57, though, he does not hop in the cart 7. He's hopping in cart 16. And Bert does instructions, he will indeed have the top of the grid. So he will not get his spot back in this. But JP57, though, we know he's never quite out of this thing. Here it's had a lot of speed as of late. He sits in P6 right behind him. Reaches one spot out of gaming contention as it stands. But he does have some very fast drivers right behind him. Those being Piazza and now JP57. Ahead of him, though, it's hard to go up in. Get another 10 to 25 right on the wheel. Stay tuned. It's going to be a doozy. We'll be right back soon with the interviews. That's our last episode. Not going to be able to get the interviews in tonight as being kind of rushed out here, quite frankly. But perhaps that's for the better. We'll have to see maybe a different camera angle will have to suffice. Be right back here very shortly. Hopefully now with some better audio. Be right back.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we're getting set to bring you the A main very shortly. We're going to try out a slightly different camera angle here tonight. So you're going to get a flyby angle as the drivers make their way through the light bulb just prior to the bridge. So you guys are going to get a good vantage point of perhaps some dives into turn 3. We've seen a lot of dives into that corner here tonight. Perhaps you'll be able to see maybe the tail end of the laps. So we're going to try out this little different camera angle. Hopefully for tonight, this will work well enough for what we're trying to do here. So folks, the last of the drivers are getting sat down in this one. As a recap, though, going back to the first qualifier, Nasty was able to absolutely dominate. He will sit on the pole of this one with a 36.983, an absolute flyer on a night that, quite frankly, no one expected to get in the 36-second range. He did just that. Sitting right behind him is a driver that didn't even get into the 37s, but was able to block his way into P2. That's Pass Smasher. So we're going to have the top two in points battle it out. Who will get the Hardweller? Who will get the trophy? It truly is an all-star race for this week's A-Main. Sitting down in P3 is going to be, I believe, Left, last week's A-Main winner. We'll have to see if he's able to hold on or perhaps improve. As we alluded to earlier, he's looking for his first time going back-to-back since his self-attested prime. So, quite frankly, it's been a while for him since he's done exactly that. Sitting down in P4, though, I believe, will be Who's Your Daddy? And then in P5 will be JP57. So your top three in the Sodi World Series standings, they all sit within that top 5. Gone Racing, meanwhile, just outside that top 5 in, I believe, P6. So we'll have to see how everyone here does as we see the carts lined up just after the third hairpin, the third of 4, as we've said numerous times tonight. But quite frankly, I don't think anyone's really heard all too much from me tonight. So quite unfortunate, but hopefully this time around, you guys are all able to hear me. So we're getting set to bring you a doozy. Stay tuned, folks. Get to see who gets the job done tonight. All right, folks, the carts have finally been lined up in their respective positions. The top two that are starting this race are the top two in the point standings. They're under the bridge. The green flag waves and we're underway in the A main. I'm trying to get a good vantage point of what just happened there. I believe that's Left that has jumped into P2 in this thing. He's already pulling a slight gap there on Passmaster. So now we'll have to see if he can challenge potentially for that coveted second A main victory in a row. Markel now looking to the inside of Gone Racing, as now we get our first glimpse of the flyby. Through the carousel, though, it remains Nasty, followed then by Left, and then a jumble of drivers. Everyone else is currently being led by Hoosier Daddy, and then right after him, it is Danny D. Passmaster has already dropped down to P5, so a bit of a sad performance. He's now down to P7. He just lost an extra couple of spots there in the new hairpin, or excuse me, turn 3. The third hairpin, I should clarify. Nasty continuing to pull a huge gap. That is, he continues to pull fast lap after fast lap. Doesn't matter which cart he's in, he's just pulling insanely quick lap times. He currently holds the fastest lap of the race by at least, I believe, over 0.3 of a second. Still sitting in P2, though, it is Left. So it's really those front two that have pulled out to a massive gap, and then a good ways back, though, is Hoosier Daddy with a 3.5 second gap behind Nasty and just about 2 seconds behind Left. Martinsville Muffin now looking right on the tailpipes of Hoosier Daddy. With Danny D now in turn 4, he makes it by JP57 there. So a good pass from him there, as now Passmaster is continuing to drop further and further back. So that's looking to potentially solidify Nasty at the top of the leaderboard. He continues to run insanely quick lap times. No one's able to touch him. I don't know what he ate this morning. Whatever it is, kids, parents, whatever. I gotta ask him after the race. I'll tell him. I'll tell everyone. You gotta eat what he's eating for breakfast. My goodness. The only other drivers in this one to even drop into a 37, those are Hoosier Daddy and Martinsville Muffin. Left still not able to drop into a 37 just yet. He's closing ever closer. He has a 38.033, though. He's still, though, dropping further and further back from Nasty. Yes, Nasty still. It's just absurd what he's doing out there tonight. He pulled, I don't even know how long of a gap he pulled in the first qualifier, but it had to have been at least 10 seconds, especially considering he pulled a 6-second gap by lap 4 in the first qualifier. Let's take a look and see how big of a gap he's already pulled in this one. Is lap 8. And he's pulled exactly that, just over a 4-second gap over left. So, of course, left a little bit more talented in that 5 kart than we've seen the other drivers in the first qualifier. So he's able to keep the gap closer for a longer time. But still, I don't think that gap is enough to overcome. Or is too short, rather, to overcome. And now we look to the back of the pack. That's Passmaster all the way in P10. So he is dropped from the front row down to P10. So that will just hurt for him to see. Nasty. It's going to hurt him to see him already going under the bridge as Passmaster is only just crossing the start-finish line. So it is a huge gap between him and that last place. Danny D, meanwhile, as he makes his way by our cameras here, he's sitting in that white helmet. He's holding off a large pack from P6 down to P9. So Gone Racing, he is the driver that brings up the rear of that pack. So a bit surprising to see the driver sitting in 4th place in the standings down that far. Perhaps more surprising, of course, is seeing Passmaster all the way down that far, as now Passmaster appears to have an issue. The yellow lights come on. Yes, Passmaster has an issue on the far side of the track over in the carousel. What has happened here? I'm not quite sure what's happened. Passmaster, though, he's stationary on the track with all the rest of the field sitting right behind him. Take a look at his lap time, see what he was able to pull. Only 38.578. So for Passmaster, or I should say for anyone else, that's a very good lap time. For Passmaster, that's as if he's racing like a turtle. He is never this slow on the track. So very surprising to see him down in last, let alone with that slow of a lap time. We'll have to take a look at which kart he's hopping into here. Please allow us just a few extra seconds here just to get the karts back and situated, as we'll be going back green very shortly here. Stay tuned. So it does appear that Passmaster has hopped into kart 2 in this thing. So curious to see how that one works out for him. Curious also to see if he gets his lap back. He did fall 1 lap down. So if he does not get his lap back in this one, his day does appear to be done. Karts, though, making their way past the start-finish stripe. I believe that makes it halfway, just over halfway, yes. Lap 11 of 20 is when we'll restart this thing nasty. We'll start from the lead. We'll see if he can pull out to yet another huge gap. The left will try to limit that gap as best as he can. We'll see if he gets help from Martinsville Muffin or Who's Your Daddy behind, or if left will try and get his way by as the green flag waves. We're back underway in this one. We look again to the carousel. Nasty already pulling out to a large gap. It does appear that the back of the pack is getting way more dicey than it was in the first start of this race. That's Danny D making his way by Race Queen. I believe that is for P7, maybe P6. That would indeed be for P6. As it stands, though, I do believe Passmaster still is one lap down in this thing. We'll have to see if that gets fixed or if he is truly one lap down. But already, though, after this restart, Nasty has pulled out to just about a 1.5 second gap, just one full lap after the restart. So he is flying. Left still sitting in P2, but now Martinsville Muffin looking to maybe make his way by. Going to be a tall ask for him, though, as Left himself is also flying. Here, a little bit of tire squealing. I believe that's between JP57 and Hoosier Daddy. That is the battle for P4. Hoosier Daddy still able to hold off JP57 for that coveted fourth place spot. Or I should say, rather, not so coveted. You want to get one spot better and see yourself on the podium. But it's going to take a tall order for him to get into that podium position, as now we see Martinsville Muffin. He's right on the back bumper of Left. Or at least he was going through 1 and 2 there, but he's not quite there anymore, coming through 5 and 6. He does get a good run, though, under the bridge. We'll have to wait and see if he does make his way by. No, he does not. He still sits firmly, though, on the tailpipes of Left, going through the carousel. Will he try anything this next lap? Now 5 laps to go in this thing. Nasty continuing to run away. He's already pulled 3.2 seconds over. Now it's Martinsville Muffin. He made the dive on Left into turn 4. So Martinsville Muffin is in P2 in this thing. We'll see if Left is able to make his way back by into P2, or will Martinsville Muffin hold him off? You guys got a great angle over that pass there. I look to the timing board. It does appear that Passmaster was indeed able to get his lap back, and he now sits in P6. So he was able to make his way past that entire pack and sit right in front of Danny D now. So now Passmaster sitting in P6. He made his way up from P10, as there's now 2 laps to go in this thing. Nasty looking to take the A-Main victory yet again. It's been a storybook year for him. Absolutely phenomenal. Been a storybook night. Will we see the best driver at OTK currently? Will we see him take the All-Star race victory and get that coveted Midsummer Classic trophy? The white flag flies for him. For the final time, he's going to make the flyby past our camera here. He has been running insanely quick laps all night. He's the only driver to drop into the 36s here tonight. Hardly anyone even able to drop into the 37s. But coming through the kink for the final time, Nasty will take the A-Main victory, and he will get his hands on the hardware. So major props to him. He'll be very happy to get his hands on that trophy. Meanwhile, sitting in P2 is Martinsville Muffin with, I believe, left rounding out the podium. As now Who's Your Daddy gets left stuck in the wall here. Might just be out of our camera angle. Let's take a look if we can see. Yes, there he is. Now we can see him stuck in the wall. Just enough of a bump coming through that final hairpin on the cooldown lap here. That's he's left stuck in the wall. Doesn't matter all too much for him, as he does indeed round out your podium here tonight. Sitting down in P4, though, it is Who's Your Daddy, followed then by Passmaster, so he was able to make his way all the way back into the top 5 tonight. Very, very good performance there in these last 10 laps, 9 laps, I should say, to see himself in the top 5, going from 10th to 5th in 9 laps. Sitting down in P6, though, is JP57, followed then by Danny D. Race Queen will finish in P8 with Mark L in P9. And then Gone Racing. Again, a very surprising sight for him. He'll finish down in P10, rounding out your field. But folks, we'll be right back to bring you the B main. It's going to be perhaps an even better one. We shall see here, though, tonight who will get the job done in this upcoming race. Stay tuned, folks. As I'm sadly getting a little bit late to the party, but the green flag does wave for this one. We're underway in the B main. Luckily for you folks at home, the camera wasn't late to the party, as we got to see Lurchy pull out to an early lead. Now followed by Firefighter, who's getting followed very closely by what feels like weekly A main contender Karsten. He's getting put in the wall there, I believe, by Espo. So we shall see if he's able to hold on or perhaps improve, get the A main victory, or excuse me, the B main victory. We shall see here, though, folks, if he's able to get it done. Lurchy, though, at the front of the pack, he is pulling away already. We're looking live in at Lurchy still continuing to pull away. I believe he's pulled out to now, take a look, a 1.7 second gap over Firefighter. Those three are battling for every spot that they can manage. Espo actually has the fastest lap of the race down in P4. And he's doing so while battling for P2. So Firefighter holding off the likes of Karsten and the fastest lap holder so far, Espo. We'll see if Lurchy has anything to say about that. Yes, he does indeed. This last lap, he did set the fastest lap of the race as he still continues to pull away. He's now, I believe, pulled over a 2-second gap. Yes, indeed, a 2.3 second gap over Firefighter. So if Firefighter continues to block Karsten and Espo here, Lurchy could be home free already, barring a caution that we saw in these last few heat races and the A main even. At any rate, folks, I hope you guys are enjoying this camera angle as much as I am. The flyby is now under the bridge. That's Karsten trying to get by Espo. I believe he might have lost the spot. Yes, he did. Espo was able to get his way into P3. So P4 up into P3 now. Espo will now set his sights on Firefighter. He's already looking to do so. Will he duck to the inside? No, he will not through turn 1. But he does put the bumper on Firefighter through turn 2. He's looking to the inside of turn 3. Will he get the run? He's going to try it. A little bit of bump in there. Will he have to give the spot back? I don't think he will, but it does look a little bit of, look like a little bit of rubbing there at the exit of the turn 4 hairpin. Espo will now set his sights on Lurchy, who's already, let's take a look here. Lurchy is already pulled a 4.5 second gap on Espo now. Oh my goodness, we see a huge spider coming through the window. Can you tell how this race has been for me so far? I'm more worried about a spider that's in front of the window than I am about who's leading this race, and that's Lurchy still. As we now see one of the track officials trying to say hello to everyone. Shout out to Ty. That's my boy. Now back to the action, though. We try to get a shot of Lurchy. Is now we're going to hopefully get the camera shot of the drivers on the bridge cheering on everyone that's in this race. Let's take a look up here at the bridge. Say hello up there, guys. We're all out here to have a little bit of fun. We now look the back of the pack. I believe that is a driver that had to qualify his way into league racing tonight. I believe that is Drew B. So shout out to him for being able to qualify and get his way into at least league racing tonight. Not been the race that he's hoped for the time being, but to be able to race amongst the best of the best that On Track has to offer. It's an awesome experience to race here at On Track. I know it firsthand. It's just an honor to race with all these guys that are out here. Some of the guys here these past few seasons, I believe, I do not know the exact number. I believe it's 13 years running. The best driver from the United States to represent the United States in the Sodi World Series, they have come from On Track Karting. And with a win here tonight, we shall see if Nasty now jumps into the lead in that regard in the United States lead, moreover. It's a win that Nasty badly needed to further solidify his place over Passmaster. We now focus in on this race in particular. Lurchy still continuing to run away with this thing as we're now just a couple laps over halfway. He's now pulled just over a 4-second gap, almost a 4.5-second gap over Espo now. Kioska now sits in P3 with an 8.3-second gap behind first place and just about a 4-second gap behind P2. Not too far behind him, though, is Karsten in P4 with a 38.395. And sitting in P5, rounding out your top 5, is Firefighter. I believe he started on that front row, if not the pole. I do believe he did start in P2, though. He is, of course, sitting in P5 with a 38.658. Sitting down in P6, though, is Stevo with the fastest lap of the race, mind you. But it's not going to matter all too much in the grand scheme of things. He is closing on Firefighter now, but it won't mean too much as he looks hopefully to get by him very shortly and set his sights on Karsten in P5, or excuse me, P4. Bucco, meanwhile, sits down in P7. So it's been a sad night for him. After starting in the top 5 just last week, he's sitting P7 in the B main. So a huge blow for him. Would have wanted to see his hot streak continue, but not quite going to happen. Chowda, he sits down in P8. So he'll look to perhaps make his way by Bucco as he looks to do just that. He's right on the tailpipes of him coming through the third hairpin. He sits in that 4-cart pack led by Firefighter. And now sitting all alone, though, in P9 is Drew B, as he now looks to potentially get lapped here very shortly by Lurchy. Lurchie, those are the two guys that are in the picture right there as Lurchie now gets the wave from Drew B. Drew B will let him by. Some good sportsmanship shown by him as we look now as they come into frame. The 4-cart pack led by Firefighter. It is nose to tail. Next time by, though, the driver that's just now coming into frame, Lurchie. It'll be 2 laps to go for him next time by. He's pulled a huge gap. I believe Piasca, somehow, some way, he's found his way into P3. So Espo still close-ish to Lurchie, but not quite close enough to make something happen in these final 2 laps, as he now is looking to get by the lap traffic here. That 4-cart pack in the back of the pack has kind of spread out just enough. We see it now 2 and 2. That's Firefighter and Stevo, followed then by Bucco and Chowda. As now Stevo, he looks to the outside, though. It's not quite going to get the job done. The white flag flies, though. That's for Lurchie. One more time around for him in the B-main. Making his flyby for the final time tonight. Espo coming into the frame right now, so not too far behind, but not going to be close enough to make anything happen. As coming through the carousel for the final time, it is Lurchie. He'll take the B-main victory. We'll have to keep an eye on who gets the spots here. Who will take P5 in that 4-cart pack? Will it be Firefighter? They're making their way through the carousel for the final time. Firefighter pulls just far enough away from the rest of the pack. He will hold on to that final top 5 spot as we look just above him. It is Karsten that finishes down in P4. And then rounding out the podium will be Piasca finishing in P3 with Espo right ahead of him in P2. So your podium from this one, Lurchie, he'll take that B-main victory with Espo, getting P2 in this one, and rounding out your field, or rounding out, the podium. It will be, I believe, Piasca. Yes, Piasca. So Karsten not quite able to hold on to that podium finish. So a bit of a disappointment from him, but at least he was able to hold on to the top 5. As now, folks, we get set to wrap things up tonight. It's definitely been a bit more eventful than we otherwise would have wanted it to be. Not even from a racing standpoint, but rather from a technical standpoint. Having to do a one-man show for you guys was certainly something that I wasn't expecting to do, but hopefully you guys had just as much fun as I did. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this new camera angle, the flyby. We might just have to try this out next week as Quad B returns. Hopefully. Please don't stay in Aruba, Quad B. But as Quad B returns from his break in Aruba, shout out to Quad B. Hopefully we'll be able to get all 3 camera angles set back up for you guys for next week. But that, folks, is going to be it from me. This has been Caboose. Signing out. Have a great night, everyone.